Schools Board of Education meeting, Monday, December 9th, 2019 meeting at 7:02 p.m. Members present are David, Kenny, Jennifer, and Susie. This time we move on to recognition of grade school PTO. I did.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys coming here today. I think Brandy emailed me sometime a couple weeks ago. We talked about the Christmas parade, and we sent an email out encouraging people in the district to participate in that. Not only did the Stigler Grade School PTO participate, but they won the entire parade. Congratulations. Several people helped out. I know several people can't be here tonight, so I'm going to hand these off if you guys could pass those on, but I'll read it. A lot of them say the same thing. Hereby recognizes, and I'll read each of these out, for representing Stigler Public Schools as a member of the grade school PTO and for winning the float contest in the Stigler Christmas Parade. Several different people have complimented, and what they did that was different, instead of walking around and throwing out candy, they bought books, and they were able to get almost 250 books. So they've already requested to double that as they round halfway through the parade. Triple, and we're going to triple. Several people had complimented them, and I think you guys got several compliments throughout the parade for their kids.
Oh, we got hugs. It was like crazy.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Aaron Wynn, Curtis McGuire, Alan Curtis McGuire. Thank you, sir. Alan King. Thank you, sir. Scott Johnson. Tommy Joe Hertz. Chad Garman. Felicia Collins. Robin Clark. Michelle Moore. Pass on the congrats. Summer McGuire. Kim King. And I think a lot of them like dressing up too.
We love dressing up.
Stacy Huggins.
Congratulations.
I said Melanie Gorman. Emily Hertz. Brandy Johnson. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. And we would like to thank you all. When Ms. Mayhall let us know about the float, Mr. Beauchamp was supportive of that and provided us with the money to buy supplies. And Summer and I quickly jumped on the chance to buy books. So with Scholastic Book Club, you can get dollar books, which they're good quality books. They're just on sale. So we bought 235 books, and we ran out before we were going to run out before we got to the judges, but we stopped and kept a couple where we could pass them out in front of the judges just to make sure the judges knew. We wanted to win the $100 because what we are going to do with the $100, Miss Janice Williams is going to come and present it Friday with Miss Mayhall at the Friday Assembly, and we are going to buy 100 more books. And I haven't told you guys, but Janice is also going to donate $50 more. And so we're going to buy 150 more books, and we are on our Friday Assemblies. We're going to draw names from each class to give out more books. So that's our biggest goal in all this. So we appreciate you all in that effort.
Thank you, ladies. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Awesome idea too. Very good idea.
Never thought of that. Okay. This time we move on to the approval of minutes from November 11th, 2019 meeting.
Make a motion for minutes. I'll second.
Motion made by Kenny, seconded by David to approve the minutes of the November 11th, 2019 meeting. Kenny?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
And Susie, yes. This time we move on to approval of encumbrances.
Pretty short and sweet. The only thing I would tell you, there's a correction. 302, that first one, the amount of $130 is going to be a credit. That's actually, they got the wrong one, and we reordered it under 320. 12, so it's in that with office supplies, a lot of stuff for copiers, but that chair is in that part as well. 303, the Midwinter Conference, that's Mrs. Mayhall attending the elementary conference. 305 allowed us to get, we have digital displays in 2 of our board office rooms. 306, we had some outdoor water pipes for football. They bought some supplies from the Davis building in order to insulate that, protect that. 310, the books are for the grade school library. 311 is for our psychometrist who tests for special education IEPs. And then 314 is supplies for JOM, microphones, speakers, books. And then the one 70225 is for work done this summer to help us out, some July and August work here in the office, as well as the grade school office. Past month.
It's quite lengthy, I just wondered.
Oh, the gasoline report,
Yeah.
because, Finish Line was bought by a different company,
Yes.
and their billing kinda got caught behind,
Okay.
and I didn't have their bill by the last board meeting,
Okay.
so I didn't know exactly, cause what the tickets are that we get from the gas station isn't what we actually pay. So I couldn't pay off those, I had to wait till I got that bill,
Okay.
so we were that's actually 2 months
Okay.
on that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
saw
far
it was
left,
10,
yeah.
some of it
Yes.
was 10.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Cause I knew who
October.
went where, I just wasn't sure on how much it cost.
Okay, okay, that's all I need to know. Any other questions?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion made by Kenny, seconded by Jennifer, to approve the encumbrances as listed. Kenny?
Yes.
Jennifer? Yes. Stephen?
Yes.
And Susie, yes. This time move on to other financial reports, pages 6 through 17.
Payroll continues to be down, our bills are up overall, but what you see the difference is that we've bought a bus, our short bus, $54,000, so when you compare it last year to this year, we still feel pretty good about where we are. Sorry, I'm looking at the screen now. And even when you go from year to year, we've had some additional collections this month, State Department that we've been able to collect. It'll look down next month. It's kind of one of those deals that we've talked about so far this semester. When you look at month to month, it could be deceiving because we catch up on some months. We caught up this month, we're well ahead, and it will even out the next 2 months. But again, we're still right on track to continue the $2 million carryover for the year.
Okay, anything else is on there?
I think once I get those things, and I think it will, with the content.
Okay. Everybody good with the financial reports? Okay, this time we move on to public comment. The Board of Education invites public comment at this point in the regular meeting. A, comments concerning agenda items. No one present for that. B, other comments in accordance with policy BED-R. No one present for that. Information items. Superintendent's report.
We'll refer to the screen, have quite a bit of information, we'll really go through it fast. And if you want me to go back or slow down on anything else, let me know. But facilities has been a point of emphasis here last month or so. The gym is a cause for concern. We have one bid out right now. It's the foundation, is primarily that entire front entrance of the gym where the concession stand and the restrooms are. Ramjack has came by and give us a quote in the $37,000 range. Gonna look for another quote on that, but that's something we're gonna have to do fairly quick like. Looked at the outside main entrance of the gym. You see a lot of that paint, that kind of stucco-ish, peeling off, and to redo that, it was just a much higher price point than we thought we could bite off at this time, so we're gonna kind of hold off on that till probably the spring. Installing handrails in those lower seats, the chair back seats, there's no handrails going down. We've had 2 cause for concerns with people walking down and requesting that, so the pipe was actually gonna be in next week, it will be in this Wednesday, and those will be installed over the break in time for our next home basketball game in January. Needs list, roofs are number 1, our sites are all compiling their list of needs so we can put something together. have had 2 architects come by, White and Williams Associates. The first one is Kerr 3, to just kind of give me some information on what it would take to fix some of these needs that we've created. Branding, logo, I've got with Stigler Printing. They are compiling a brand for us. When they know they've done work for us, and when they walk around, we have several different Panthers or different logos. He's done several. He's done several of the tribes. I think he had done all of them, and then the next day he was going to meet with one more and didn't tell me of their branding, just those icons and things. So he's going through that process with us. Once he comes up with some stuff down there, Linus, would like to have one of you on the board serve on a committee of approval of those. So if that's something you're passionate about, let me know. We'll also be getting some people for sure within the school. Athletics, I know, will be a big one on coming up with what is that Stigler logo, what is that brand for our marketing. Restroom faucets, we've been converting all those from a standalone, if you turn it on, to automatic shut-offs. If I know anything about being around kids, especially middle school kids, if you give them the ability to leave it on and stay on, it tends to do that. So we're putting shut-offs where you just press and it delays for 15 seconds. He's most of the way through that. The Stigler first grade building, that main building, the center of that, apparently has never had hot water in their sink, so he is installing hot water in those. Have trimmed all the trees and cleaned out the gutters at the middle school. Some of our roof problems have been, we haven't taken care of the trees around the gutters, and there's been a lot on top of the roofs. Another one that we will have to probably bid out to get taken care of right in front of the high school is a giant pine tree. There used to be, I think, 6 or 8 of them, and they took out most of them. They had a storm all back. There was one that stood. It's still there, as well as all the pine needles on top of the high school. So we'd like to clean that up, and the best way to do it is to get rid of that tree. We had a cooler at the middle school go out, or actually at the high school, and people found out that Highland will replace those for us. We owned the one at the middle school, so we requested another one. They got us that, and athletics had been requesting another cooler for their milk and stuff like that they use in their off season. So we were able to take the one that we own and move it over to football at no cost to us. And then they spent some time here lately preparing for winter. All those outside buildings, concession stands, locker room stuffs with baseball, softball, football, they've got those all winterized. And then the digital displays is this one here, and then we have another one in the back, in that back office where we can have meetings and pull up information instead of looking at each other's computers. So it's made us more efficient in this office. Community outreach, we talked about the Christmas parade. We will have a Christmas card. You can see the bottom right, that's a little bit of a mock-up of our Christmas card that will be going out Wednesday or Thursday. Everybody who supported us in the staff appreciation of that last home football game, we were able to mail them a thank you card. We've spoken to the New Century Club, served on the board of the Stigler Industrial Development Trust, and really excited about the document that they came up with recently, the forward, Stigler Haskell County. Some things that specifically apply to us, A through G. The Wayfinding Signage, and that goes along with what we've asked Linus to do. The city's going to update a lot of their signage and stuff, and if we can do that at the same time, so when you come in here, there's a like look to everything when you come into Stigler. The city is using the same kind of color scheme, the white and the red, the black. If you come into town where the sports complex sign is, very, very similar to that way. If you look on the north side of the road by the gas station, there's one to the golf course and Stigler Public Schools. It's all green and faded out. We want to get all those updated to have some similarities. Big part of the forward Stigler Haskell County is a 2-lane highway. Reportedly, we're the only county in Oklahoma that doesn't have a 4-lane road. So advocating at the state level for expanding Highway 9 is a big push. The city, I know Mr. Mauser is really behind a multi-purpose facility, the hospital obviously, recommendation for a Stigler Public School Foundation. So if there's people that have grown through this process, several schools in the country have a outside entity foundation, and what their sole purpose is to support the school and raise funds and a 501c4 capability, and that was something out of that committee that was recommended. Marketing and advertising, we'll talk a little bit more on December 19th, some stuff that we're going to do with our staff to collect some things. And then the partnerships was the really key deal out of that forward deal of our county, our city, the Choctaw Nation, and Stigler Public Schools all working together. We might have three similar needs. There's no reason to address it three different ways if we can share, whether it's facilities or equipment or staff. So we'll be looking for ways to do that.
We got a few of those thank you cards back because they had wrong addresses on them, so I'll be sending those back out.
Resending those.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I started to say it was
Yeah.
probably our physical address.
Yeah.
Some things upcoming, excuse me, I don't know if you made aware of what's going on with the Cowboys and their Head Start program. They came and visited with us. They are getting out of that, so we are going to be jumping on and getting into that next year. We're in the process of looking at staffing, classrooms, facility-wise. We anticipate 3 or 4 pre-K classrooms started in Stigler Public Schools. We're excited about those opportunities and what that will allow not only our students, but just more vertical alignment with our curriculum and instruction and our beliefs. Virtual education offerings. I wouldn't say this is a totally new deal, but it's new in the fact that we are actively making sure that people know when they come in and say, hey, I want to transfer out of Stigler Public Schools and I want to go to an online school environment. We have that opportunity. You do not have to leave Stigler Public Schools to be a virtual education student. Along with that, you can still participate in extracurriculars, whether you want to join a sports team or in the choir or anything like that. We offer that. We have that capability to do that. So we've got to do a better job of marketing that opportunity. Website, we have a meeting Wednesday at 3:30 and anticipating of a January launch of our new websites. We're excited about the new look of what that's going to be. That falls totally in line with all of our marketing and branding. Marketing, advertising about the school of choice. Some things you'll see later on when we talk about our data is about, like it or not, we're compared to schools in Haskell County, we're compared to schools in this area, we're compared to schools in Oklahoma, and we're competitive, and we want to achieve at high levels. So not only knowing where we are, knowing where we stand versus other people is something that we've started collecting that information. And then we do have a corrective action plan. I think I talked a little bit last month in our reading and graduation rates in regard to our special education students. So the plan we put in place will require some professional development starting on December 19th and ongoing next semester to address those concerns. Some things here, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on this slide because there's a couple things. The State Department's A through F grade card came out, and this is what they say of their judgment of public schools in Oklahoma. There's a couple things that cause me concern as a public educator and a superintendent, and one of them is the emphasis on an overall grade and a letter grade. So I won't spend a ton of time on where we are. I can tell you we're addressing it specifically at the micro level, and knowing where we are in each classroom and each student, by standard. You can see some of this, and I'll share this document with you guys. Highlighted in green is the state average. Highlighted in red is Stigler Public Schools. And then when we talk about comparisons and being the school of choice in this area, these are schools in this area. The schools outside this area are based off of ADM, which is your average daily membership. So we picked the 5 schools that were below us and the 5 schools above us to kind of compare where we are. Same thing, math. The one previous was English Language Arts. This one was our math scores. Results from the ACT last year. Again, state average in green, Stigler in red. Test results across the board. You can see a little bit on where that is compared to the state average. I think a very attainable goal for Stigler Public Schools is to be above the state average in every one of our areas. December 19th is a day looking forward to. First semester data. Our staffs will be meeting together and discussing by student, by standard. There'll definitely be some things that we have an opportunity to celebrate, praise. There'll be some things we need to polish, and then really the emphasis will be on a plan moving forward. Other things our staff will be doing is coming up with points of pride by site that will help us produce that marketing material and letting people know when they look for a school in this area what all we have to offer, and as well as that special education professional development. Next board meeting, January 13th.
Okay, this time we move on to action topic A, annual reevaluation and consideration of Indian policies and procedures.
Something, we do every year. It just needs to go through and have board approval, so when we turn that in, we can show the meeting minutes.
Make a motion to approve our, Indian policies and procedures.
For a second.
Motion made by Kenny, seconded by David to accept the, Indian policies and procedure, reevaluation. Kenny?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
And then Susie, yes. Action topic B, consideration to approve the adoption or revision of the following policies. Number one, adoption CHC bids and quotations, pages 20 through 21. We'll do them all at the same time. Number two, adoption CHCB, selection of a construction manager, page 22. And number three, revision FFG, reporting suspected child abuse and or neglect, pages 23 through 24.
The first one, bids and quotations, allows us to not have to go with the lowest bidder if a secondary bidder is close to that, and it's a local bidder, and we can justify that by using a local bidder, even though it might be a little bit above the lowest bidder. It would be better for our community. Selection of a construction manager, we just didn't have that policy in place that allows us to have a construction manager. And then the verbiage of how you hire and retain one. And then the revision on the last one is, all three of these are from OSSBA policies. But it changed some legal language, and I believe it was from promptly to immediately, or swiftly to immediately in terms of the reporting of it. So all three that I would recommend.
Make a motion, we accept the bids and quotations, adoption, the selection of construction manager, and the reporting of suspected child abuse.
Second.
Motion made by David, seconded by Jennifer to approve the adoption and revision of the following policies. Number one, bids and quotations. Number two, selection of construction manager. And number three, reporting suspected child abuse and or neglect. David?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Kenny?
Yes.
And Susie, yes. Action topic C, consideration to approve the Stigler Public Schools facility usage form.
This is new. We haven't had a form in place. We've actually had the requirement as part of when we allow our batting cages to be used. When they sign up for that, one of the bullet points was you must have a facilities usage form in place. Looking over that, we didn't have one, so we borrowed a copy from another school, changed it, made it fit our needs. In there, kind of just a general overview, is if you're gonna, we want anybody and everybody to use our facilities who are in this community. But if you're gonna use our facilities for a profit to make money, there's gonna be a charge for that. If it's not for profit, if you're gonna have a meeting, or if you're gonna have something, funeral, where there's money that doesn't change hands, we're gonna waive any fees. And then the other thing on the backside is just making sure that you have primary insurance if you're gonna check our facilities out. And I've met with the city and their Little League teams, and they feel that their coverage that they're gonna offer through Little League would cover them on anything with the batting cages as well as anything else. But this protects us and then lets people know who use our facilities, what their expectations are. The only other expectation is if they do use our facilities, we want one of our staff members, preferably a custodian, to be there to open up and close and just be there if they need any cleaning throughout the event. So there would be a charge for maintaining a staff member.
Even on the batting cages?
Not on the batting cages, yes. That's one thing we don't have a camera in there, and that's one thing we might consider for that. But no, we wouldn't staff the batting cages with a custodian. Good question, thank you.
Yeah, that was the only question. A couple of years ago, somebody went in and I guess all their kids had sunflower seeds.
And that's what we started looking into, is this, there's been a lot of questions about, we're getting ready to start checking out the batting cages, how do we wanna do this, who needs to be responsible, so cameras is the easy one for us. I don't think we need to have somebody there anytime for that all the time. And then them making sure that they know, and when they do the batting cages, there's $100 deposit, they might lose that deposit if we have to go in there and clean up.
Make a motion to approve the Stigler Public Schools facility usage form.
Second.
Motion made by Kenny, seconded by Jennifer to approve the Stigler Public Schools facility usage form. Kenny?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
And Susie, yes. Action topic D, consideration to approve the extra duty stipends for the 19-20 school year, page 27.
This is just a modification from a summer approval list. The only difference is when we approved it the first time, we had all those people on there, but there were a couple different positions that are paid at $45 instead of $30. This gets us in compliance with the auditor if they come audit and they say, well, why did you pay these people $45? Well, now we have board approval. The hardest ones for us to staff are clock keeper, bookkeeper, and then student supervision. So this allows us to pay those people $45 instead of $30.
Make a motion that we approve extra duty stipends for the 19-20 school year.
Which one? Jennifer? Motion made by Kenny, seconded by Jennifer to approve the extra duty stipends for the 19-20 school year. Kenny?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
And Susie, yes. Executive session. A, proposed executive session to discuss and act upon the following business pursuant to 25 Oklahoma statutes 307B, 1 of the Open Meeting Act. Number 1, assessment of the performance of Superintendent Adam Beauchamp and the discussion of extension of his contract, pages 28 through 30.
I'll make a motion we convene to executive session.
I'll second.
Motion made by David, seconded by Jennifer to convene an executive session at 7:28 PM. David?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Kenny?
Yes.
And Susie? Who's here?
What do you
No, just give me a pen. Okay, John, you're gonna do that?
Do what? Make motion to return to open session.
Give it a second.
Ready?
Yeah, I'm gonna write it, cause
Okay. Motion made by John, seconded by David to return the board to open session at 10:23 PM. Members present during, executive session are Kenny Whitson, Jennifer Turner, David Huggins. John joined the executive session at 8:10 PM. And Susan White. Adam Beauchamp was also present, no votes were taken.
We need a motion to table. Make a motion we table, the reemployment of Superintendent Adam Beauchamp.
Second.
Motion made by John, seconded by David to table reemployment or non-reemployment of Superintendent Adam Beauchamp and extension of his contract. John?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Kenny?
Yes.
And Susie, yes. Any new business? Okay.
I make a motion we adjourn.